Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Saturn making a square opposition or inconjunct aspect to one's natal Jupiter. Now, when we're talking about transits that involve Saturn, they could be about limitations, responsibilities, duties, delays, sorrow, despondency, fears, inhibitions, apprehension. And when you're talking about transit Saturn basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal Jupiter, now I'm going to elaborate on that. As far as when I say basically adverse aspect, of course, the squares and opposition aspects in astrology are adverse and negative. But when you have inconjunct aspect, well, that is seen as neutral, but a neutral aspect does have good and bad qualities to it. And the thing about this is an inconjunct also can require an adjustment, transition, and those things, of course, can create some tension and exasperation. Now, when you have transit Saturn, again, basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal Jupiter, it may manifest in limitations, restrictions, responsibility, duties, laborious work, delays, sorrow, despondency, fears, inhibitions, apprehension. Those things might conflict with your natural exuberance and enthusiasm. It could be, those things can often do that anyway, but in this particular case, it could even be more accentuated, more emphasized than usual. And there can be, you might be inundated with responsibilities at this time and things you have to do, and it's really just maybe taking the joy out of your life. At the natal transit Saturn is in the zodiac sign Cancer. It can be home-related responsibilities. It might be doing home renovation or some kind of repair or restoration home. It could be something with cooking, or things even with laundry that might be more overemphasized at this point, and it might be where it's causing you to really zapping your enthusiasm and exuberance at this point in time. Now, Jupiter is also connected with going outside the box, expanding horizons. So it can be a situation where sometimes it could even be in a father or an authority figure, an older person. There might be some things you have to do for this person. It might be conflicting with you, trying to expand your horizons at this time. It could be if you're taking care of a debilitated older person. It could be a situation where that could be prohibiting you from doing things where you want to expand your horizons, where you want to go outside the box, so to speak. It could be just doing some kind of work. It could be a career that might be preventing you from doing that as well. If the transit Saturn is in Scorpio, say, it could be doing some work with locksmithing or work as a psychologist or investigation, forensics, the occult, which includes astrology, working as a coroner. Might even be being responsible to deal with some crisis or insurance or tax related matter in some cases. Now, another thing too is that keep in mind Jupiter is also connected with the truth. And could it be maybe a situation, I would say, being that Jupiter is associated with the truth and veracity, that Saturn, is sorrow, and it might be something where the truth might hurt a little bit more. It might be, something negative you find out that's truthful, and whether it can be, about a job or a career, it could be really virtually anything. It could be, some situation with your home and family life, something that causes, that is very truthful, and it's something that might be, cause a little bit more, depressive energy, or making you feel more despondent at this time. Jupiter is also associated with the law, so in some cases there might be some difficulties with the law at this time, whether it might manifest in the form of a lawsuit. It could be something as simple as, driving, speeding while driving, or, if Sagittarius is involved, it could be some, recklessness, with driving, or, it's just something where there could be a greater propensity for some problems with the law. Remember, Saturn could be about difficulties. Jupiter is associated with the law. Jupiter is also connected with foreign travel, traveling abroad, and it can be a time where you might have, some responsibilities, some career-related matters that might be prohibiting you from doing so. Say if the natal Jupiter is in Pisces, maybe you're wanting to take that, some elusive, uh, long distance voyage by sea, and yet you're not, able to do it. There could be some restriction. Some cases it could be a monetary, financial restriction, maybe prohibiting you from doing so. It's something where this transit too is also, Jupiter is about higher education, so it could also be a time where you might feel maybe a little bit more depressed or negative regarding situations with the higher education and college. And it could be manifest in a number of ways. It might be something where maybe you feel you have a lack of higher education. Maybe it's causing you to feel more dejected, sad, more sad at this time, or you're not really, you don't think your progress is good in terms of your college studies at this time. Maybe the grades are not up to par, or at least in your mind. It could be a number of things, but whatever it can be, if you're involved in, especially if you're involved in college or higher education, you might not feel really at this time satisfied with it. There might be a sense of lack. Jupiter is also associated with publishing, and it could be a time where maybe there's some delay in getting something published if you're trying to publish a book or essay or whatever it might be at this time. Say if natal Jupiter is in Gemini, it could be a short story, as an example. Something animated even, or cartoons, with cartoon frames, or like a comic book or something, or it's something to, Jupiter, keep in mind, anatomically, Jupiter is connected with the pancreas, the liver, sciatic nerve, hip, and thigh. So if you're experiencing any problems with those, and there's anything chronic related, there might be more difficulty in connection with that at this time, and there might be a conflict with your responsibilities, your career, and those issues at this point in time as well. And also to remember that Saturn is connected with the knees, the bones, the joints, the hamstrings. So if there's any problems with those, that might be zapping your enthusiasm and your exuberance, and maybe even conflicting with other Jupiterian, Jupiter-related things such as foreign travel, college education, religious activities, or what have you. Another thing too is that remember that Jupiter is also connected with the philosophy, and you might be at odds at this time, with the father, or an older person, authority figure. The situation is such where you might not be seeing eye to eye on your beliefs right now. If the natal Jupiter is in Sagittarius, it could simply be a belief or opinion on something sports related. It could be something over religion or the law. Speaking of religion, remember Jupiter is also connected with religion. And the thing about this too, again, going back to Saturn being connected with the father or older people, an authority figure, these people may be in conflict at this time with matters over religion, whether you're not, it could be something where they're stating you're not involved enough actively. It could be just the religion you follow they may not agree with. Those are, another way. And also to Jupiter is about joviality and jocularity, and it can be a time where it could be a negative or depressing situation might be impacting your enjoyment, or really being able to joke at this time, able to be good humored and jocular and really happy at this point in time. It could be just that you're so inundated with responsibilities. It could be adversely impacting how jovial you are at this time, and make it difficult to express that. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, well, another way this transit may manifest, it could be where you may be apprehensive regarding expanding horizons. Say if the natal Jupiter is in Aquarius, as an example, it could be doing something with astrology or astronomy, computers, electronics innovation. As some examples, it can be also too where it might simply be a laborious effort to do something even sports related at this time. If you're involved in sports, remember Saturn is connected with laborious efforts. Jupiter can be associated with sports. The thing is, say for example, if the natal Jupiter is in Gemini, it could be table tennis as an example, or badminton or racquetball. Those are sports that require, say, quick wittedness and quick reactions and responses. I say those. I believe those could be Gemini-related sports. If Jupiter's in Sagittarius, it could be doing something, with horses, like being, riding horses, being a jockey, or doing something with darts or archery, or hunting, as some examples as far as Jupiter and Sagittarius goes. Now, another thing too is that a father or an authority figure may be averse, again reiterating what I was saying previously, may be averse to your, could be a belief, a philosophy, or an opinion. Say if Jupiter is in Capricorn, your natal Jupiter is in Capricorn as an example, it could be a belief they feel might be overly, conservative or restricting or negative. Also, too, another way this transit may be expressed, it could be where responsibilities or some work or duties might conflict with your higher education and college studies at this time. Say if the transit Saturn is in Pisces, maybe there's some responsibility to people that are less fortunate than yourself, such as the impoverished, the oppressed, the homeless, or the hungry. Maybe something with spirituality, or even the metaphysical, which includes astrology. Remember, Saturn is also connected with chronic illnesses. So it could be where a chronic illness or some debilitating illness may be challenging or conflicting with, could be long distance travel plans at this time. Say if the transit Saturn is in the zodiac sign Cancer, maybe there's something going on with, chronic problem with the stomach, the chest, or the breast, area at this time. I don't know if, water, if there can be a chronic issue as far as problems with water retention, but if that's the case, if that actually can apply, if that's a possibility, then I would include that as well. So in that example with Saturn, transit Saturn in Cancer. And it's interesting when you have this, this transit basically adverse aspect. You can have, I'd say especially with the opposition, the Saturn being very negative and pessimistic, and then Jupiter is about joviality and optimism. You might feel at this time there's kind of maybe there's some tug of war going on with trying to see just in general the negative and the positive elements or aspects and things, whether it's in your life or whatever it may be at this time. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.